right, so continuing on with Act 3, we're getting to the climax of the story now. In the first act, we had the introduction of the characters and the conflict, so the two families. Also in Act 1, we had Romeo and Juliet meeting. And also the seed was planted in Act 1. We had Tybalt, and it shows his rage for Romeo's family, which is going to come into play later on. And then in Act 2, we get a little rise in action. This is where Romeo and Juliet, their love develops, even though it's a short period of time, but their love does develop. They get married, and they have to live their life in secret now. So Act 3 will be the climax. This will be the turning point. This is the act where something happens that changes the path of their lives. So Romeo in this act will meet up with Tybalt and Mercutio. There'll be some sword fights, some deaths, and Romeo will be banished. So this is the big kind of kink that happens and causes their deaths, although you can argue that in Act 1 and 2, tiny little details from those acts cause their deaths as well. But Act 3 is the turning point, the major complication. So scene 1, it looks like we can probably get through that, and hopefully scene 2. All right, so Mercutio and Benvolio are out on the street hanging out, and it's a hot day, so their tempers are ready to flare up with the heat, and they encounter Tybalt, and there'll be a fight. So Benvolio starts by kind of warning Mercutio, "I pray thee, good Mercutio, let's retire. The day is hot, the Capulets abroad, and if we meet, we shall not scape a brawl. For now these hot days is the mad blood stirring." So Mercutio's going to make fun of Benvolio about how easy he is to prompt to fight. So they're just teasing each other about fighting right now in their tempers. "Oh, thou art like one of those fellows that, when he enters the confines of a tavern, claps me his sword upon the table and says, 'God send me no need thee,' and by the operation of the second cup draws it on the drawer, when indeed there is no need. Oh, am I like such a fellow? Come, come, thou art as hot as a jack in thy mood as any in Italy, and as soon moved to be moody, and as soon moody to be moved. And what two? Nay, and there were two such, we should have none shortly, for one would kill the other. Thou wilt quarrel with a man that hath a hair more or a hair less in his beard than thou hast. Thou wilt quarrel with a man for cracking nuts, having no other reason but because thou hast hazel eyes. But what eye but such an eye would spy out such a quarrel? Thy head is as full of quarrels as an egg is full of meat, and yet thy head hath been beaten as addle as an egg for quarreling. Thou hast quarrelled with a man for coughing in the street, because he hath wakened thy dog that hath lain asleep in the sun. Didst thou not fall out with a tailor for wearing his new doublet before Easter, with another for tying his shoes with an old ribbon? And yet thou wilt tutor me from quarrelling. Oh, and I were so apt to quarrel as thou art, any man should buy the fee simple of my life for an hour and a quarter. The fee simple? Oh, simple. So now here comes Tybalt. By my head, here come the Capulets. Oh, by my heel, I care not. Follow me close, for I will speak to them. Gentlemen, good e'en, a word with one of you. And but one word with one of us. Couple it with something, make it a word and a blow. Oh, you shall find me apt enough to that, sir, and you will give me occasion. So Tybalt's here to find out where Romeo is, because remember, Tybalt wants to fight Romeo because he couldn't at the party. So Mercutio's kind of taunting him. Could you not take some occasion without giving? So there's some sexual joking here too. Mercutio, thou consortest with Romeo. Consort? What? Dost thou make us minstrels? And thou make minstrels of us. Look to hear nothing but discords. Here's my fiddlestick, here's that shall make you dance. Zounds, consort! We talk here in the public haunt of men. Either withdraw unto some private place, and reason coldly of your grievances, or else depart. Here all eyes gaze upon us. Men's eyes were made to look, and let them gaze. I will not budge for no man's pleasure, I. So Romeo walks in now. Well, peace be with you, sir. Here comes my man. But I'll be hanged, sir, if he wear your livery. Marry, go before to field, he'll be your follower. Your worship, in that sense, may call him a man. Romeo, the love I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain. So Romeo is acting strange here. He actually likes Tybalt and loves him because Tybalt is Juliet's cousin. So because he's married to Juliet, he feels love for the rest of her family. So he's turning down this opportunity to fight, which Mercutio is going to be very angry about. Tybalt, the reason that I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage to such a greeting. Villain am I none, therefore farewell, I see thou knowest me not. Boy, this shall not excuse the injuries that thou hast done me. Therefore, turn and draw. I do protest, I never injured thee, but love thee better than thou canst devise, till thou shalt know the reason of my love. And so, good Capulet, which name I tender as dearly as my own, be satisfied. Oh, calm, dishonorable, vile submission! Alistocata carries it away, and he pulls out his sword. Tybalt, you rat-catcher, will you walk? What wouldst thou have with me? O good king of cats, nothing but one of your 9 lives, that I mean to make bold withal, and as you shall use me hereafter, dry beat the rest of the 8. Will you pluck your sword out of his pilcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine be about your ears ere it be out. I am for you, and he pulls out his sword. Good Mercutio, put thy rapier up. Come, sir, you're passado, and then they fight. So Romeo gets out his sword, trying to stop it. Draw, Benvolio, beat down their weapons. Gentlemen, for shame, forbear this outrage. Tybalt, Mercutio, the prince expressly hath forbidden bandying in Verona streets. Hold, Tybalt, good Mercutio. So he tries to break up the fight, and what happens is, underneath Romeo's arm, Tybalt stabs Mercutio, so Romeo's in the middle of them. Now, I have a line here that I don't think you have. Petruchio says, away, Tybalt, so they run away. So it's just Mercutio left lying in the street with his friends. I am hurt, he says, and interestingly, he says, a plague on both your houses. So he's cursing out Romeo and Tybalt. I am sped. Is he gone and hath nothing? What, art thou hurt? Oh, aye, a scratch. Marry, 'tis enough. Where is my page? Go, villain, fetch a surgeon. Courage, man, the hurt cannot be much. Oh, no, 'tis not so deep as a well, nor so wide as a church door, but 'tis enough, 'twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. I am peppered, I warrant, for this world. Oh, a plague on both your houses. Zounds, a dog, a rat, a mouse, a cat to scratch a man to death, a braggart, a rogue, a villain that fights by the book of arithmetic. Why the devil came you between us? I was hurt under your arm. I thought all for the best. Help me into some house, Benvolio, or I shall faint. A plague on both your houses. Oh, they have made worms meat of me. I have it, and soundly too. Your houses. So they head off. This gentleman, the prince's near ally, my very friend, hath got his mortal hurt in my behalf. My reputation stained with Tybalt's slander. Tybalt, that an hour hath been my kinsman. O sweet Juliet, thy beauty hath made me effeminate, and in my soul tempered softened valor steel. So he's talking about how he's coming to his senses now and remembering that how much he usually is a fighter, and his love for Juliet has made him soft and effeminate like a woman. So Benvolio comes in with the bad news. Oh, Romeo, brave Mercutio is dead. That gallant spirit hath aspired the clouds, which too untimely here did scorn the earth. Oh, this day's black fate on more days doth depend. This but begins the woe, others must end. So he's going to go after Tybalt. So here comes Tybalt. Here comes the furious Tybalt back again, alive in triumph, and Mercutio slain. Away to heaven, respective lenity, and fire-eyed fury be my conduct now. Now, Tybalt, take the villain back again. That late thou gavest me for Mercutio's soul is but a little way above our heads, staying for thine to keep him company. Either thou or I or both must go with him. Thou wretched boy that didst consort him here shalt with him hence. Well, this shall determine that, and he pulls his sword out and they fight. He stabs Tybalt, Tybalt falls. Romeo, away, be gone! The citizens are up and Tybalt slain. Stand not amazed. The prince will doom thee with death if thou art taken. Hence be gone away. Oh, I am fortune's fool. Why dost thou stay? And then he runs away and everyone comes out. So there's a big kerfuffle right now. Everyone's out on the street and they figure out, oh, it's the Capulets and the Montagues again. So the prince is very angry. So they start yelling, which way ran he that killed Mercutio? Tybalt, that murderer, which way ran he? There lies that Tybalt. Up, sir, go with me. I charge thee, in the prince's name, obey. Here come the two families. Where are the vile beginners of this fray? O noble prince, I can discover all the unlikely manage of this fatal brawl. There lies the man slain by young Romeo, that slew thy kinsman, brave Mercutio. Tybalt, my cousin, my brother's child, O prince, O cousin, husband, O the blood is spilled of my dear kinsman. Prince, as thou art true, for blood of ours, shed blood of Montague. O cousin, cousin. So she's saying that Romeo needs to die. So the prince wants to find out what happened. So he asks Benvolio, who began this bloody fray? So here's a little summary of what happened. Tybalt here slain, whom Romeo's hand did slay. Romeo that spoke him fair, bade him bethink how nice the quarrel was, and urged withal your high displeasure. All this uttered with gentle breath, calm look, knees humbly bowed, could not take truce with the unruly spleen of Tybalt, deaf to peace, but that he tilts with piercing steel at bold Mercutio's breast, who, all is hot, turns deadly point to point, and with martial scorn, with one hand beats cold death aside, and with the other sends it back to Tybalt, whose dexterity retorts it. Romeo, he cries aloud, hold, friends, friends, part, and swifter than his tongue his agile arm beats down their fatal points, and twixt them rushes, underneath whose arm an envious thrust from Tybalt hit the life of stout Mercutio, and then Tybalt fled. But by and by comes back to Romeo, who had but newly entertained revenge, and to it they go like lightning, for ere I could draw to part them was stout Tybalt slain. And as he fell, Romeo turn and fly. This is the truth, or let Benvolio die. So Lady Capulet says, he is a kinsman to the Montague. Affection makes him false. He speaks not true. Some 20 of them fought in this black strife, and all those 20 could but kill one life. I beg for justice, which thou, prince, must give. Romeo slew Tybalt. Romeo must not live. So the prince is thinking about it. Romeo slew him. He slew Mercutio, who now the price of his dear blood doth owe. So he's saying it's 1 for 1 now, so no one should die. So Mr. Montague says, not Romeo, prince. He was Mercutio's friend. His fault concludes, but what the law should end, the life of Tybalt. So here's the prince's decree. And for that offense immediately do we exile him hence. I have an interest in your heart's proceeding. My blood for your rude brawls doth lie a-bleeding. But I'll amerce you with so strong a fine that you shall all repent the loss of mine. I will be deaf to pleading and excuses, nor tears nor prayers shall purchase out abuses, therefore use none. Let Romeo hence in haste, else when he's found, that hour is his last. Bear hence this body and attend our will, mercy but murders, pardoning those that kill.